Hey, how's it going, everybody? Ramon here, back at you with a new, this episode I'm going to call First Look. As you know, the name is Oahu Surf Films. The ultimate goal for this channel is for me to produce films that center around the sport of surfing and use this YouTube channel as a way to promote my filmmaking. So surfing and filmmaking is the basis, but at the same time I do a little videography where I just set the camera up and hit record and let things go on the beach. A lot of people like that kind of stuff, but ultimately that's not my goal. My goal is to produce, direct, and create my own films. So really inspired by Jason Baffa. If you don't know who Jason Baffa is, he's the guy that directed Single Fin Yellow. And he also did another recent film, I believe it was Loopers, which was a film centered around golfing, if I'm not mistaken. But anyhow, I actually got to meet his nephew. All of you have heard of his nephew, Connor Coffin and Parker Coffin. So yeah, those two are his nephew. I actually got to meet Connor Coffin. I want to say back in February, he was at Haleiwa. So it was really cool to run into him at Haleiwa Beach Park. And then it was crazy because like 2 weeks later, I ran into him at Rocky Point, and then I ran into him, I want to say near Pipeline. So it's like, yeah, we kind of recognize each other now. And so, but a really ultimate goal of mine would be to run into Connor Coffin and meet his uncle Jason Baffa. And you know, just thank him for making Single Fin Yellow back in 2003, because that DVD pretty much changed my life. Watching that DVD was what got me into, you know, surfing, and yeah, it's how I ended up with these dust collectors on the wall. I haven't, I admit I haven't taken them out too often. I have a I believe it's a 9.6 Robert August What I Ride that I usually paddle out and surf. It's a bit beat up. It's got a deck pad on the nose for where my housing sits. A lot of people see it and they're like, wait, why do you have a deck pad on your nose? You're such a kook. But then they see the water housing and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, you know, because I have a big metal water housing that sits on the nose, and the board's pretty beat up. But I keep telling myself once I'm done with the film that I started on 3 years ago, I'm gonna get the board repaired. But it looks like I'm gonna be using this board for for additional films that I'm starting to work on. So hopefully in the future, once I'm done with everything, I can get my Robert August repaired, maybe put it on the wall, and then look at getting something cheaper, maybe even a soft top to just, you know, take out there, paddle out with, and let the camera slam into and not be worried about putting holes in the deck. So with that said, the newest project I started on early this year was a short called Kaimana. Starring Kaimana. He's a surfer from the North Shore. If you know him, you know him. If you don't know him, you will know him once things get up and rolling. Unfortunately, I missed the cutoff for the Surf Film Festival in Portugal. I was really hoping to get Kaimana out to that festival, but I misinterpreted the cutoff date. And plus, even if we would have making the date, there was still a lot of content that I wasn't able to capture in time to, you know, produce and send that down to the festival. So it's crazy. Things are changing constantly in the world. Looks like a lot of festivals have already been canceled this year. Another festival I was really targeting was the Honolulu Surf Film Festival, which was also canceled this year. Big disappointment, but I understand. They're looking to bring it back next year. So hopefully by next year, I can push all 3 of my films out to the, actually all 4 of my films out to the Honolulu Surf Film Festival. So yeah, locally, I finished shooting Kaimana, so hopefully we get the chance to do a screening here on the island of Oahu, and I'm probably gonna try to do another private screening here shortly. The newest project I'm working on is called Muerte, which is named after a board shaped by Brent Clem, who is a shaper here on the South Shore. Everyone knows him as Mr. Clementine, you know, the little fruit thing, whatever. Okay, we'll scratch that out. Anyhow, yeah, so a lot of his boards have names like La Muerte, Borracha, and there's a few others, but I just spoke to him earlier. I was like, Brent, why do all your boards have Spanish names? And he was just like, oh, the story is really lame. So it's centered around a deck of Spanish cards. So yeah, you'll get to know Brent a little later. He's also going to be showing face in La Muerte because the film is centered around his board. So, but the short now, starring Matthew Vasquez only, is yeah, we're working it now, and you guys are actually going to get to see a clip once I'm done with all this talking right here. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel and comment on the video. Let me know how you like it. Things are going good. Surf's been pretty consistent. Next week we got some pretty solid south swell rolling in, so I'm looking forward to getting out in the water with Matt, shooting again. And we also have the Duke Ocean Fest coming up, so it's really exciting to see this consistent south swell starting to roll in time for the Duke Ocean Fest. So hopefully it sticks around and we don't have another flat Ocean Fest, because that would just be a bummer. But yeah, La Muerte is in full effect. I hope you guys enjoy this trailer. And La Muerte and Caimana, I'm gonna go ahead and say that those two are brother films because they're leading up to something bigger. So sometimes I feel like the Tony Stark putting together a team. But yeah, those two films are leading up to something bigger, which I will announce later this year. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy Oahu Surf Films. As I said, the goal of this channel is to produce my surf-influenced documentaries. I live on the island of Oahu. It only makes sense. And yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy. So thanks for watching. Aloha.
My name is Matthew Vasquez and I'm from Honolulu, Hawaii. Okay, my board experience, first time I got a board, it was many years ago, but I was actually using my dad's boards that he had brought from the mainland. I believe he brought them from the mainland. We might have bought them here, but I was using like some 10-footers and like my dad would push me and that would be the whole jam, you know, all day, just hopping on a board and my dad doing the whole motions with me. So how I got to where I am today. So I've been surfing for years, but when people ask me how long I've been surfing, I tell them like about going on 15 years now, but what I would consider surfing, it was only about 4 years. So, you know, progressive surfing and like nose riding and actually like, you know, turning the tail and hitting floaters and stuff like that, it's only been about, you know, 3 to 4 years. Maybe 3, closer to 3. So I just kind of was on that yellow, that secondary yellow soft top. And I graduated, I guess you could say, from Kapiolani. I started to get a little bored of just catching waves and riding as long as I could, not doing anything. So, you know, and I was friends with Johnny from this area. And so, you know, I seen that he was going to Queens and he would tell me about it when he would come back and stuff like that. So I would ask my dad, where's that? And so eventually I kind of made my way over and I was still using the soft top. I would surf babies and then I'd see Queens breaking and I'd be like, wow. So I'd be called to kind of go out there. And then sure enough, I did. And I started understanding what it was really like to ride a wave. And then not to mention, they were really killing it. John was sponsored already. And, you know, it blew my mind that, wow, you know, one of my friends took off that fast. And so I seen them and, you know, that bar was set in my head kind of subconsciously like, oh, this is surfing. And, you know, I got to keep up with that, you know, if I want to hang around here.
If you have a love for surfing and Hawaii, consider becoming a Patreon member, as this would not only support me, but help me bring you more behind the scenes content, stories, and action from around Oahu.